podcast. I'm Ann of Studio Duskus, and here with me is my co-host.
It's me, Vic from Say La Vic. What is up, everyone?
Hello.
Yo.
What's
How's
up,
it
girl?
going? Oh my gosh.
Good.
We've already had a whirlwind of a morning.
We have.
Yeah.
And we usually don't like podcast in the morning.
No, we usually
Right?
don't. We usually do it after work at the end of the day. So now we're like fresh and like,
Oh, we're super fresh right now.
yeah.
We're super
Energy's
fresh.
like pumping and everything. We're not
Okay.
tired and exhausted. So I think this is going to be a good one. I don't know. This topic is also.
I mean, let's see what happens. It's interesting. It's
a little
interesting.
juicy.
Yeah.
Okay.
How
All
juicy?
right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What's up? What are we going to talk about?
All right, let's just talk about the fact that my girl Ann here went freaking viral. Oh my gosh. Like in your last like how many like 2-3 projects that you've done? Literally like off the charts, like, you know, everything like views, getting eyes on it. And this is what I told you at the beginning. I'm like, eventually this is what's going to happen. Like you're just going to put your work out there and you know, it's going to blow up. Like, you're blowing up. I'm so excited for you.
Also, like, cringe.
Yes,
like,
cringe.
I don't want to talk about me. Like, this is not what this episode is about.
I know. But like, let's put aside the fact, like, this is not us sitting here like, oh my God, we are so famous. We are so like, you know, whatever. This is literally not that. This is literally just like breaking down what happens on social media and is like something that, you know, we go through or we like, what is this phenomenon of like virality, you know, that's always like, you remember when we first started, it's like you look at stuff, you look at other people's things and you're like, oh my God, that's viral. Like I can make something like that,
Right.
you know? And so like
Yeah.
the different perspectives on it. And this is like not a flex episode, although I am so proud of you. And I'm so glad that the world finally gets to see like all the cool things that come out of your head, because I know like when I talk to Ann, she's always just like, this is like so simple, like anybody can come up with it. And I always tell her like, no, not everybody can come up with what you come up with, and your brain is like genius, you know. And like I'm just so happy that you're able to share that with people, and Instagram doesn't mess up and really like takes, I mean, okay, your zipper mischief shoe went viral on your account, viral on the mischief account. I ended up seeing it on YouTube Shorts, right? It was like adopted by like multiple people and they like reviewed it and everything. And I'm just like, this is what virality is, you know. It's just like it goes out of control. It's no longer within your control what the reach is, you know. It's just like different platforms pick it up. I'm sure it's on TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok, but I'm sure it's on TikTok, you know. And like you start seeing things, you're like, oh my God, why do I see my work being featured on so many other platforms and so many other places that's like outside of my own account, you know? And it's just crazy. It takes on a life of its own.
Yeah, totally. So I think like exactly to what you just said, like long story short, right? It's like, I think you and I, because prior to this, like I've never had anything go viral, you know? So I think it's safe to say, would you say, like you and I don't create content with the expectation or with the goal of trying to go viral.
I remember when we were like first met and we talked so often. I mean, we still talk really often. We were talking for hours and you were like, but I don't want to go viral. Like there was never that intent. Like that's not what our goal is. We're not creating content to go viral, because otherwise I'd be dipping my shoes and die all the time.
Girl, oh my gosh, hey, no shade.
I'm totally joking, but not joking.
Sorry,
But
not
you know
sorry.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of content that we know goes viral and we could chase that all day long, but that's truly like not what our goal is, right? Because the second that we see something that's gone viral, we're like, well, that's not for us. Like, let's move on to something that hasn't been done.
Yeah,
you know?
and I think part of how we operate is that we are both kind of weirdly like rebellious against that. It's like the more we think people want to see, like the kind of stuff people want to see, the more like almost like in a weird way we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like gonna get canceled.
Every episode.
You know,
We're gonna get canceled.
I feel like we say that every episode. But it's like it's almost like too easy maybe.
Yeah.
But then it's weird. Okay, let me go back to maybe the zipper shirt real quick, right? Like, thank you so much again for saying like, okay, I love your brain, I love how you operate, and it's like, but it's interesting because I think it's like whose POV is it, right? Like your point of view, my point of view versus the community's point of view. Like everybody sees it a little differently. And then so from the way I see it, it's like, to your point earlier, like I was like, I mean, I guess it's cool. Like I'll do the zipper shoe, but like in my mind, my POV is like, I mean, it's kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
It won't take me very long. I mean, it's kind of like maybe a low hanging fruit, right? But then to your point, it's like, but it's not. It's actually really interesting.
It's not.
And so, so I think I often feel this way, and let me know like what you think. But like, and I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to be like modest, right? And I feel very blessed to be able to like, you know, have this like will to execute. But I think that's maybe sometimes where the difference is between creators, is that you may have an idea, but you don't have the will to execute. And I have an idea, and I do have the will to execute. And then so like there is a huge part of me that really believes that this idea has been thought of before, but like nobody actually really done it and show it like in this way that I have. And that's why it's interesting.
But that's what makes people that actually put their content like out there different, right? Because tell me you haven't in your life had friends, you know, who just give you these brilliant ideas. You know, they're like, oh, I have this great idea. Like all the time I get people like, oh, Vicky, you should do this. Vicky, you should do that. You know, like, oh, like I have a great idea. Like you would get so many followers. You would get so much business. Like you should make your business about that, you know? Or like, I have this great business idea that's going to make you so much money. It's so easy to do. So then do it, you know? And they are not the people that do it. They are the people that say that they're going to do it. And so that's always my answer to somebody who has a great idea. I think you should do it. Right? And so it, like, to your point, you know, it's like, tons of people might have that idea, but nobody has executed it to the degree that you have and has shown, you know, that it's been done. And therefore, it doesn't matter. Whatever other people think, it doesn't matter because they didn't actually do it, you know, but you did. And so you deserve all of the credit for whatever it is that you've done, you know? And it's like, think about it. Like, yes, this might be a concept that tons of people have thought about, but I don't think I've seen a zipper shoe in the last like 10 years of me just like looking on the internet. And I think that's why it went viral, because nobody else also did the same thing. You know, like how many giant zipper shoes have you seen as a custom? I've actually seen none. You know, so like the fact is, like, you might sit in your studio thinking like, oh, you know, like this kind of like simple, this is kind of, you know, just an idea, like, yeah, like there's nothing like, you know, rocket sciencey about it or like revolutionary about it. But the fact that nobody's done it before amongst like however many people, like billions of people we have in the world, like that's something special, you know?
Thanks, babe.
So don't cut yourself short. Like give yourself full credit for that. Yeah.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, like what this experience has taught me is that, and I think this kind of ties back to like our confidence episode, right? Like you and I both, like as content creators, like it took us a really long time, even to this point we have talked about, like still to this day after we've been filming ourselves for X number of years, that we still feel like shy or nervous or cringy about like speaking in front of a camera, right? And then sometimes it's like this particular like piece of content, like reel that went viral, it's like it's not even me showing my face, you know, it's not me talking in front of the camera, but it's just having enough confidence to believe in yourself that like I really enjoy creating this, and whether or not people like it, I'm gonna put myself out there. And I think just have enough confidence to put yourself out there is a huge step for any creators to like even like get to, you know? And exactly to what you're saying earlier, it's like you never know like what's gonna happen. Like this world, like this post had shown me like it's wild out there.
Like the power of social
Like,
media.
yeah, and
right. Like we always trash it, but this is the magic of the algorithm, whatever you want to call it. Like this is how it works.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And can I just like backpedal a little bit to that moment? I remember the exact moment. Okay, so the Mischief shoes. If you guys haven't seen it, go and check it out on Ann's page. It's the Mischief sneaker that you basically cut in half, in like a wavy half, and then put a giant zipper on it so that when it opens up it becomes like a mule. Right? It like, you didn't even stop there. You didn't stop at the zipper because you thought like, I can do more, like I can make this even more epic. And so when you unzip the zipper, inside is a mule, and then it has the Mischief logo on it. And like I remember the day that you were filming this, because we were like, leading up to it, the idea was always like, oh, I'm gonna make it like I'm gonna do a stop motion. I'm gonna have it like walk in, and then it's gonna unzip. Or I'm thinking of it being like in a foot into the shoe, and then you're gonna show how it unzips and all this stuff. And like, you know, overthinking. Here's another thing to our overthinking episode. But like overthinking how to present your final product like, after you've made everything. And I remember that exact moment when you were like, you know what, Vicky, screw this. I'm just going to film it on my desk. You know, it's going to have my like, your little cutting mat underneath it. I remember like the video, right? And it was like very casual, and it's very much like just an ASMR, like not even like purposely ASMR, just like, like a video of me unzipping the shoe and then exposing what's underneath. And that's what went viral. And it's like wild. Not stopping, you know? Like it's crazy. And it's the most like, almost like casual, like showcase of what you've done. That's not overthought. That's not overproduced. That's not like, you know, you trying to make it like this whole thing. It was very, you know, and I love that about it. I love that that's what happened, because it teaches us so many lessons.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you for reminding me of that. And let's talk about that a little bit more, because I think, I hope this will help like our community members to, with their content creation.
Yeah.
Because I think, okay, so you reminded me that day, like before I did that, like remember I had set up like the seamless like in the middle of our room.
Yep, like literally right here on this table. Yeah.
And I set it up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a stop motion, right? And then, but then I was like, still, I was kind of like, okay, just set it up. I don't really know how it's gonna go yet. Like, let's just see how it flows, right? And then after I set it up, I was like, not feeling it.
Just not feeling it.
Not
you know?
feeling it, you know? And then so I was like, F it. It's gonna be like super like low fidelity. I'm just gonna film it. And it wasn't even like a legit like, I didn't even have the bandwidth, Vicky, that day to set up like my actual overhead, right? I was like, I'm just gonna take a little short like tripod and then just point it, and then that's why it's like
film it from my phone,
so close,
you know?
so up and close, because I can't even like zoom out.
Honestly,
and,
so many of these days come through, and we're just like, I cannot like put the effort into doing that. I'm over it, because you've already spent all this time making the shoe. You know, keeping up with social media on the regular, like all of this stuff. And then it just got to the point where it's like, you know what? F it. Here you go. This is what it is.
Just share it for the sake of sharing it. Don't overthink it, right? And I think, again, like, go back and check out our overthinking episode. I think, like, that was one of those incidents where I was, like, way overthinking it, right? Like, I was way overcomplicating, like, what it needs to be, and versus just allowing it to be what it is. And I think sometimes as creators we go through that period where we're like, well, I've already spent all this time creating this shoe, so like the way I present it need to match the time that I spent creating this actual work. And so we get into this pickle where like we're internally conflicted with the situation, when like you really don't need to be doing that. It's just like this pressure you gave yourself, you know? And like it could totally, like, it doesn't have to match. Like it could be one or the other. It doesn't have to be the same. Yeah. And so that was like, that very particular incident just proved to me that like, okay, like I can be a little bit more chill about it, you know?
Like more playful, like not so serious about everything that goes on the grid. It has to be like perfectly curated and perfectly to your aesthetic, you know? Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, so it was just like, again, putting yourself out there and then allow the world to do what it needs to do. And like it completely just took over. Like it was crazy.
It's amazing. And it was amazing to watch. And like, honestly, as your friend, I was like rooting for you. I was so happy, like seeing everything. I like sent it to you. I'm like, Ann, you're on YouTube Shorts, but you didn't put it on YouTube Shorts.
I know. It was like somebody reacting to it. I was like, what?
I'm like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
I was like, wait, I know this person.
Thank you for scrolling Shorts so you can like come across that.
I like death scroll on Shorts. Like that's where I'm at. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, how do you feel? Can I ask you, like, how do you feel maybe like when it was happening, and then afterwards, like
when it was happening, it was kind of like, okay, it's very surreal, to be honest, because like, I think we talked about this before where like I don't know if I told you this recently, but as of like maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, beginning of this year, like I stopped looking at insights, like my business insights. So like all the analytics that Instagram give you for your creators.
Was this account. Before or after your post went viral?
This was before. Okay. Like, so even the curry one, like I like, don't look at the analytics. They're toxic, you know, like, yes, like to a certain extent, like you want to study it. So, you know, like when most of your community members are on and when do they engage with you and what kind of posts like do they like. But then it's so toxic to me where I'm like, yes, I get the part where like you should be considerate of who you're catering to, but at the same time, like it's hard to maintain that balance as a creator to not lose a sense of yourself. And so in the end, I chose myself. I'm sorry. Like I love y'all.
No, I love that. And so in the end that you chose yourself. Like that's so important because like I always have this struggle with my partner because my partner's always on my ass about this is going to be an explicit episode. Always on my ass about like when to post, looking at stats, because of course like he is more of like a statistically driven like look at the numbers, look at what works, look at what doesn't, you know. And actually before this life I was, because I was a scientist, you know. And so I understand that numbers are really important, but on the day-to-day when you have to manage so many things, you have to be the artist, you have to be the editor, you have to post, you have to engage, like after that there's almost no bandwidth for you to worry about the numbers. Like let me just do my job first as an artist, and then let me worry about the numbers later, because all of that, like you said, can be really toxic because it adds this like extra pressure. It's like you have this like imaginary boss somewhere that's telling you like, you need to do this, your content needs to look like this, you need to post at this time, and then it just becomes this like really daunting task that you don't want to do. And I think it stifles your creativity at the same time.
100%. Yeah.
So and I'm always saying like, I can't manage. I know that I shouldn't be posting at this hour, but you know what? Right now I don't care. I just need to get it up.
It's also like, yes, posting is better than not posting, regardless of what time it is.
Like we always walk out the door of the studio sometimes like, you know what? I didn't do anything except for push out one post a day. And I always have to remind both me and you, it's like, that's an accomplishment. You've been productive having pushed out one Instagram post, as little as it seems. Like maybe we're just here patting ourselves on the back for, you know, doing nothing. But I think like that's enough. Like the amount of work that it took to get to that point where you can post is a big accomplishment.
It is. So not looking at the numbers has helped me sort of like remove myself from like allowing what works and what doesn't work get to me. So I can like really just focus on the work itself. And then however, like when it started going viral, you know, like
you can't help but look.
I still didn't look at the analytics.
Okay, not the analytics, but the numbers.
Viewing count, right? I was like, holy crap, like is this happening?
Yeah.
And then
it's just unreal because the number is like once it gets over 1 million, you're like, wait,
what?
Is that even real?
Right.
Right. We look at millions and we're just like, ugh, like fake followers, fake, you know, whatever. It doesn't seem real.
Surreal.
And the whole thing was like super organic between, you know, the curry post and, you know, the mischief post, right? Like everything is super organic. It's not like you did anything to make it go further. You simply just posted and then
Right.
it went viral. You
Right.
know, it's almost like one of those cases that you only hear about, but
Yeah.
you never really see.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that, you know.
Like, yes, I mean, honestly, like, it's super surreal to experience that, and like, I am so grateful. Wait, okay, I have to give a shout out, Vicky. I have to give a shout out.
We love
Okay.
shout outs. Yes, please.
The mischief shoe, the mischief zipper shoe. Guess who was the first domino? Like, somebody tipped it.
Okay, tell us.
That kind of got the
ball rolling.
The kind of like pour fuel on the fire and got the ball rolling
Yeah.
on that particular post. Jeff Staple.
Okay, but
Jeff
the
Staple.
fact that it like got on his radar,
He reposted
that's amazing.
on his story, and I was like,
Shout out to Jeff Staple.
amazing.
You know?
Like, seriously, huge shout out to Jeff. Like, honestly, like, it's, first of all, what an honor. And he was like, it's dope. Like, and
Because
like,
it is dope.
I mean, it's just like, oh my God, Jeff Staple. Like, that's enough for me, you know? But like, he reposted about it, and we all know all the important people that follows him. And then, like, from there, the next morning, it like, he posted the night before, and the next morning, it just like took off. Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So he is the first domino. Like, I fully believe it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I so appreciate that.
Yeah. But again, also like your shit's dope, and so it's meant to go viral, and of course like Jeff saw it and he like, you know, game recognized game, and he's just like, yes, this is dope, I'm gonna post it, you know. And yeah, you deserve it all. You deserve all of the credit.
so
for it.
sweet.
Yeah. So
But okay, but can we go back to just talking about like, well, what happens now, right?
so okay, so I wanted to ask you like what was the feeling right after you went viral? Like
it's
like okay, I'm gonna let you answer.
I mean,
Instead
no.
of
I mean,
priming you.
no. It's like it feels great, you know, because it's like being recognized in a way, acknowledged in a way that like, okay, people actually like my stuff. People actually like my shit. I mean, it's explicit already. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
But
Let's
like,
just keep it going.
you know, and so it was very like, it was very reassuring that like, there is a place for me as an artist, and I don't want this to like, I don't want our community to listen to this and think that just because they didn't get there or something that they
Like a
did
post
haven't
doesn't
gone
go
viral, that
right.
doesn't mean there isn't a place for you in this space.
Or that you like haven't made it.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Like there is a space, there's a place in this space for all of us, right? And you just have to find that group that loves your stuff. And I think, and again, like I have to reiterate one more time, it's like you and I don't create content with the intention of hoping that it would go viral. Like that's all just a really nice bonus. And again, I'm super grateful that it happened. But again, what happens next is like, okay, well, how do you continue to create viral content? And I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You don't. You don't, you know, because that is totally out of your control. And I think if I try to go down the path of like trying to like, okay, like this works, I have to create more content like this, then like I'm gonna lose myself and it's not going to work, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's
so
a lot of pressure.
It's too much pressure. And so I think like the way to go viral again is just to keep putting yourself out there, regardless of what it is, because again, like who knew this was the one that was going to catch on, like, you know? And so you just never know what's going to catch fire. And I think this is just one of those cases that like it was, Mischief was super hot at that moment because they had just like released the Big Red Boot, you know, and they're just like, they had just came back from like Art Basel and Miami with their ATM. And so like there was just a lot of like talk about Mischief, and it was a Mischief
It's
custom.
like the perfect storm.
Right. And so it's just like all of that, I firmly believe sort of added to the value of this post. But then, so I think like you just never know what's going to happen. And I think like it's really important to just like let this like again, Klay Thompson. Okay, sorry, go Dubs. Like celebrate your win.
They're playing today. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So like celebrate your win for that moment and like really embrace it. But like in a few hours, like move on with your life.
You have to move on, right?
You know, and like what's next for you as an artist, but not what's next for you as an artist that other people want you to be.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And like, you know, what I was like kind of getting to was like, if you had this like this high and then this withdrawal from, you know, the virality of things, right? And like, where do you go next? Like, where do you pick it up? Or like, you know, if you ever like thought about, you know, what was the formula that made things go viral, you know? And I think to what you're saying, it's just like don't think so hard about that part, right? Because there was no formula. There's just so many factors that come into play, and it was just you doing your thing that people really picked up on, you know? And I think a lot of like accounts that I followed as well who have viral content, like the thing that goes viral is not necessarily the best thing that's on that person's page.
Yes.
Okay?
Say that one more time.
The thing that goes viral is not the best thing that person's done.
Yeah.
But like the really good thing about going viral is that you get a lot of eyes on your page, right? And it's really important to focus on the fact that you're putting out a portfolio that you want people to see. So you're doing things, again, time and time again, I say this, like you're doing things that you see yourself doing in the future. So this viral post is going to bring people to your other post, right? Like
100%.
You can confirm, right?
100%.
All of your other posts are going to get lifted because of this viral post. And they're going to see all of these other things that you've done, right? And so really it's about continuing to put out your best content, putting your best foot forward.
Hey, nice
you know,
plug.
so that people can get to know what you do,
Yeah.
right? Instead of just that. And I always find, you know, like, yes, viral content's great. And I always scroll through, you know, creators like profiles. I'm like, oh, this person's actually like really talented. Look at this other post. This other post didn't go viral, but it's dope as heck, you know? And so, yeah, I think it's just a reminder to keep doing what you do best and like not dwelling on the fact that like, it's great. It's celebrate the win and then move on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There was a point I wanted to make, but I'm totally spacing right now.
It'll come back to you.
Okay, I'm spacing.
So what viral content are you creating next time?
Girl, you're the one that's putting the pressure on me, okay? I'm just here having a good time.
Honestly, to me, you are viral because you, like, from the beginning have always been just so impressive. Like it's such an honor to like see you create and like see all the things. And again, it's like I'm so proud. I'm just gonna say I'm so proud to be like I followed you like way early on, you know, because I'm like this girl is so talented and like you know that's honestly like what I knew would happen, and I'm so excited to be like a bystander in all of this and like be able to see it happen.
Thanks, babe. So appreciate having your support.
So just keep doing it. I think we always falter in that like, is this what we are meant to do?
Yeah.
Because we're like sacrificing a lot of things. Like we go through, you know, there's a lot of difficult decisions we have to make. There's a lot of sacrifices we have to make in order to do what we do. And this is just like validation that we're made, like you're meant to do this, you know?
And so are a lot of our community members, for sure. I really want to make it a point to kind of like talk to our people, because I know a lot of our peers are like, some of them is a side hustle, some of them are trying to do this full time like us too. And I think I really think honestly the formula is to just keep putting yourself out there. Like keep recording yourself, keep putting your content out there, do whatever you need to do, because I think what also like this experience have taught me is that when something go viral, you get more eyeballs in your account, like you were saying. And when you get more eyeballs in your account, it equates to more inquiries,
more opportunities.
Right.
Like when you were talking about Jeff Staple, I'm like, this is, again, proof you never know who's watching. You just never know who's watching. And we don't create content for the people who we might want to see us, you know, but like we create it for those people who have opportunities we don't even know about.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I've gotten a ton, like a crap ton of inquiries, like from this shoe, from this project, right? And again, like admittedly, like they're not all the right clients that I'm seeking, you know, because you know I'm picky as hell with who I work with, and so, and this is not to knock on like, oh my gosh, like why get off your high horse, Ann, you know, it's really like I firmly believe, you know, just like if you're looking for a doctor or if you're looking for a lawyer, if you're looking for an interior designer, like you have to find the person that's the right fit for you. And so I sort of operate from that perspective, right? It's like I'm not trying to like be too good for you, but like it just doesn't seem like the right fit, you know? And so I'm always looking for the right fit, and
like
so
choose the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
Right? Pay the expert to do their expert work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I got a ton of inquiries from putting myself out there from this post. And
just
so,
saying the number of people that have reached out to you wanting like a pair, or like, Ann, can you make me a pair? I want to buy a pair. I want to, you know.
Right.
There's a lot of inquiries and various levels of like, you know.
Right. But then that's just, you know, just to kind of show like our community that like in order to get more business, that's just what the process you have to go through, you know? So like don't knock on like, you know, something that you just, you know, like kind of you feel like you carelessly, like effortless, like you didn't put in a lot of effort to do, like recording yourself or whatever it is and putting yourself out there. Like don't ever knock on those like small moments, because like that was a small moment for me, and then it like totally blew up.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
like let that be a lesson to all of us, you know?
Yeah. And I also wanted to say, like, I just love how you're just like very true to yourself, and you know, you're constantly saying like, I don't want to lose myself in this process. And I absolutely love that, because I think a lot of people go after virality by mimicking what other people are doing that already makes them viral, you know. And I like the approach better, where it's like you come up with your own thing, let yourself be the thing that goes viral, versus just emulating what other people are doing, you know. And like I don't know, I just love that feeling so much, especially for you. It's like a win, you know, just to see that happen for you, because then it's like you don't have to constantly be copying content that's already going viral, you know. And personally, like I fall into that trap as well, where I'm like, oh, you know, this post is doing really well, or like this trend is going on, so I'm going to do this trend in hopes that it's going to go viral, or in hopes that I'm going to get more traffic, you know. I think that's normal, but at the end of the day, it just feels so much better when you're doing something that's not, you know, like not emulating what somebody else has already done, and that picks up and that goes viral. Like that gives me faith that creativity is not dead, you know. Like people still recognize that, because a lot of times like things go viral, I'm like, I don't understand why this is going viral. Like
for sure,
I don't understand why a paint swipe across the shoe is going viral, like has millions of likes. Like I don't get that. So, you know, like it just gives me faith that like you just have to put in your trust in your work and then show that to the world, and it'll reward you for whatever it is.
And I think maybe there's like, to add on to what you're saying, like maybe there's a balance of like, you don't have to be all or nothing, right? You don't have to be all original work or emulating someone's work. Maybe there could be a little bit of both, because I think there are people in our community who are still building their confidence in their aesthetic or their style. And so maybe sometimes like they feel like the inspiration that they're seeing, like they need to sort of like emulate that before they can actually comfortably feel like they can get to the next
come
level.
into themselves and be there.
And so maybe there could be a balance of both, you know, and then until you feel like 100% confident to put out your own work, like I think it's okay to take that step, you know.
I agree. Can you share with us this quote that you've been sort of like embracing and living by, from Wendy Chen, that you've been saying?
Oh wait, From Wendy Chen? Which
Yeah,
one?
where it's like one for. Do you remember? You've like been saying this to me in the studio, like where it's like one post I'm gonna make.
For me, one for you?
Yes.
Oh, Karen
yes.
Chen.
Oh, Karen Chen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm like,
a huge shout out, Wendy Chen.
There we go. We like all of our Asian sisters.
We
but
love
like,
all of our AAPI creators.
I thought it was from Wendy.
Yeah, well,
okay, Karen.
Wendy has a lot of wisdom for me too. But this particular one you're thinking about is from Karen Chen, who is a digital creator based in San Francisco. Over 1 million followers on Instagram. She's amazing.
Local AAPI like
check
creator.
out her work. Like so many, I guess so many inspiration from like how she creates her content. So she sort of like, she kind of was another one of those creators that like blew up, like because like her post started going viral, and then she like lost herself for a little bit because she was like, oh my gosh, how do I recreate virality, right?
Yeah.
And then she realized like she started to like losing herself, and then so herself for sort of this like social media game, her strategy became this. So she'll do one post for you, who is like her followers, her community, and people who are like seeking her for her like very specific type of content, and then she'll do one post for her. So like the ones that are like for her are posts that she's like, oh, I don't know if people will like this, but I like this, and
this is what I enjoy doing.
Right.
This is not to go viral. I'm not following any formula or what I think works.
Exactly. And people like I already know what like this is not going to get as many likes as the one I created for you, but this one is for me, like for my sanity.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like I don't care what the results are.
So she doesn't look at any of those numbers of the post that's for her. And so I've been adopting that strategy myself.
I love it.
It's like one for you, one for me.
Yeah.
Like this is my platform. I need to like still have soul like in this like space.
Yes. And like not to lose yourself and to still be excited to do what we do, because sometimes I feel like when you're chasing that virality or you're putting out posts as if this is like your job, you lose that, you know, because when we first started it was like, oh, you know, pandemic hit, we have nothing to do, we're bored, we just want to have fun. Like you don't want to lose that sense of like play through the process of, you know, trying to make this your job, trying to make this a thing. So
and it's a conscious effort, honestly. Like I have to remind myself all the time.
Oh yeah, totally.
This one is for me. People like it's for me. Like,
this one's for me. I don't care how it does. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if this is what you asked for. Nobody asked. I mean, whenever we do things, nobody asked.
Nobody asked.
But I love that. One for you, one for me.
I encourage all of you who are listening to try it out. You know, if you're a content creator and you kind of feel a little stuck on like, you know, whether or not you should be posting something, like then ask yourself the question, like, is this for me or is this for them? You know, do I feel good about it? Then post it.
And
don't worry
both
about
is
it.
okay. Honestly, just follow your heart when you're creating, because that's what brought, I think, both of us the most joy. It's just creating what we like to create.
And I think like you might be surprised, you know, like at what, like how people respond to the ones that are for you. So
Exactly. So
So
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Celebrate like all of your successes, and I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for you.
Babe.
2023 again, big things are happening. So
Girl.
just stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening and following us and like giving us all the support that you do. Make sure to rate this episode or rate this podcast if you're listening. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for joining. We'll catch you next time.
Bye. Yay!